Yeah, UFC 287. Back in Miami for the first time in 20 years. Can you believe that? Miami.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's so weird, though. 20 years? Like,
wouldn't you think...
Why wouldn't they come back for 20 years?
Wouldn't you think they'd be there all the time?
Doesn't make any...
All the time.
And then after the thing is, like, after the post-fight interview, he's like, oh, yeah, we're coming back here every year. Now it's going to be every year.
Like, why not
like,
before?
20 years every year. What?
I know, and I said it. I said 20 years when we were watching, and someone who was at our house was like, you sure it's 20 and not 10? I was like, it might be 10. They said it again. It was 20. I couldn't fucking
20 years.
It.
It's so stupid. I don't understand. And Dana White's...
2003.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
It doesn't
Especially
make
with
any sense.
Colby and, whatever. A lot of fighters residing in Miami.
Right.
Miami's an awesome city. They were going to Jacksonville a lot over COVID. Can't believe they weren't in Miami. But glad we're back. That was awesome.
Yeah. And, I mean, not even Masvidal. It's just Gilbert Burns has been there for 10 years.
Right. Exactly.
That's what they were saying. And
yeah, there's some huge camps down there.
Doesn't make any...
I think it's the Black Zillions, right, that are in Miami.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, they have a lot of, couldn't tell you exactly who besides Gilbert Burns, but I mean, that's a huge camp. You would think that, they'd be frequenting Miami a lot more. But like I said, glad we're back there. Produced, I don't know, this is probably an all-time favorite card of mine. Right in my head right now, anyway. I mean, it was just so good.
Yeah, it was just... Like, going back to that, though, it was just weird how Dana White was saying, oh, yeah, Miami is like how Los Angeles used to be 5 years ago or something.
Right.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know. I don't know what he was trying to say, but it's just, I kept thinking about, it's funny you brought that up because I kept thinking about that. Like, 20 years? Really? Like, why?
I don't know, man.
They're, it's like they go to, I mean, whatever. That 20 years for a pay-per-view, right? Is that the deal? Or is it anything?
Might have to
fight nights and everything. I don't even know.
Post at it. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I would assume it's anything. Like he said, first time back in Miami type of deal. I would assume it's any.
I mean, they were
card.
in Florida to, like, right after COVID. They were the first ones to.
Well, they were going to like Jacksonville all the time. Yeah.
Jacksonville empty arena and then Jacksonville full arena.
Yeah.
Or whatever, but I don't know. I mean, if you're going to go to Jacksonville, you just go to Miami.
Right. You're right down the road.
Seems way better to me. I don't know. Whatever.
Exactly.
It is what it is. But it was, yeah, I don't know. I just felt like it's just bizarre. Whatever. We won't belabor that issue. But
yeah, looking at some of the fights, one thing that I noticed right away is we missed out on some interesting fights due to cancellations. Michael Chiesa was supposed to fight Li Jingliang.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
So that sucks. I don't know why that was canceled. Also, Chris Barnett was supposed to be on the card, and I think that was a late cancellation.
Yeah, it was. That was late. I heard about that. Yeah. I totally forgot about it. So what happened to Chiesa? And
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I think it was like I said, not very recent. Like it was canceled a good amount of time away from April 8th. But yeah, that sucks. That would have been a great fight. I love Li Jingliang. I think he kind of put himself on the map. In 2022, and
Chang Li.
As Nate Diaz
says. They didn't want to let me fight Chang Li. Man, that motherfucker had the dopest suit in the press conference.
I think his name is Li Jingliang.
Saying, you know what I was talking about. I didn't mean to do that to him. Did you guys see the suit?
It was dope.
Yeah. Chang Li. You know what I mean? Did you see his suit? He did have a sweet suit.
Clip.
Like it was, I felt so. That was the worst though because he got that brand new suit. Yeah. And then all the fights got all screwed up, and he's just.
I know, and he didn't even have anything to do with why the fights got.
Well, and that's the thing. The press conference got canceled, and he couldn't even wear it.
I know.
Like they didn't even have a press conference.
It was probably not a cheap suit.
Oh my god!
Right?
Those guys are rumbling in the background, and he can't even wear his suit to the press conference. That was so stupid.
I know. But yeah, would have loved to see him. Would have loved to see him on this card, UFC 287. Like I said, recency bias probably plays a factor, but I think this is an all-time card for me. I just think there's a lot of the guys that I wanted to won. My bets kind of got blown up, but that's besides the point. I thought this card was absolutely awesome. I can't wait to get into it a little bit.
Yeah, it's good. So I'm trying to pull my computer. Oh, here it is. Okay. Anyways, so yeah, that's what I was looking to because there was definitely short prelims only had 3 fights.
Or that was the early
prelims had 3 fights.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4 on the prelims. So yeah, a little light on the prelims, but yeah, I mean, prelims were awesome. I mean, we can mention just a couple highlights, like Joe Pyfer. I thought was amazing. Like, holy cow, that guy was crazy good.
Yeah, I didn't.
And just his backstory is unbelievable too. So
I was gonna say I didn't know a lot about him coming into it. We were watching at our house. Someone was like, "Oh, who's this guy?" And I was like, "Honestly, I don't really know."
Yeah, so he came from Contender Series.
Gotcha. Okay.
I think.
Yeah, that probably is why I should fucking watch the Contender Series.
Yep. Yeah, so he definitely came from Contender Series, and yeah, just an amazing story about a guy who lived in foster homes and kind of just kicked around his whole childhood, and now he's a beast.
You're killing it,
yeah,
man.
He just looks amazing, really. I mean, it was a really good performance by him, and I can't wait. I'm excited to see what's next for him, because that's going to be awesome.
He looked dominant. He looked huge, especially against Mearshart. I mean, he knocked him out in the first round.
Right, and he looks big for the weight class too.
Right,
he's a big dude.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you can kind of tell if a guy goes out there. Obviously, he fights well, but if he looks a lot bigger than even some of the bigger guys in the weight class, you can kind of tell he's like, man, this guy might be a threat or a serious, contender in that division.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what they got planned for him. I mean, he's kind of a up and comer for sure, and who knows? I mean, looking at his fight, last fight was in September, and same thing, knockout in the first round. So but yeah, was great. I mean.
Yeah, man.
Good on him, happy. And I'm really happy, obviously, for him, and I'm happy to see what he's got coming up next. I mean,
that's the best thing about the UFC too. There's always guys coming up, and like we're pretty into this. We're not experts or anything, but like I said, I didn't even know too much about this guy, and it's like, oh my god, now he's here, now he's on the biggest stage, and now he's knocking out Gerald Mearshart in the first round, and now he's probably gonna have a even bigger fight, or at least someone against someone who has a bigger name, and see what he does. And then it's just cool to follow guys like that. I feel like UFC is a great sport for that, following up and comers and just really
that's
able to get excited about guys.
It's always a thing where those guys, there's always great stories. Well, there's great stories behind pretty much everybody, but some stories are better than others.
Well, and this is like my argument for like, well, whatever. I don't hate the WWE or anything like that. I just don't watch it. But it's like there are really, really good stories that are like real in the UFC, you know what I mean? Whether it's like, Pereira and Izzy, or like even just Joe Pyfer, who has this crazy upbringing and now he's here destroying guys. Yeah, it's cool. It's really cool.
Yeah, the WWE, the WWE has great stories too. You just never hear about them because they're all fictional kind of characters. That's just how it is.
Well, to my understanding, that's kind of part of it, is like the whole story.
I mean, you didn't grow up. You didn't grow up watching it. I don't watch it anymore, but I grew up watching it, and that's kind of how it is. Like, you don't really get to know the guys' backstories in real life. It's more like, okay, what are they, what are they doing now, and who's their beef with, and blah blah blah.
Exactly.
It's like a soap opera, is what it is.
Right.
It's like more of a TV exactly. It was reality TV before there was reality TV.
Right. Yeah.
Because it was it was backstories and all kinds of crazy stuff going on, and whatever. It was back and forth. Who's a bad guy? Who's a good guy? And
who's the heel?
Who do we hate today? And So, but moving on, I don't know. We can move on to the feature prelim. I mean, Chris Curtis and Kevin Gastelum.
Yeah.
Probably. I'm gonna say fight of the night. Maybe. I don't know. I'm just saying it's. I mean, it was a great fight. It was a great fight. Yeah, and it was back and forth, and Gastelum looked better than he ever has, I thought. And I thought he looked quick. He was, bouncing. His boxing was amazing. Back and forth exchanges. I mean, Chris Curtis is one of those guys where you just don't get in. It's hard. He's hard to hit. He slips punches. He covers up good, and he's a very good boxer, and he's hard to hit. But Gastelum tagged him. I mean, he tagged him a number of times, and it was... he looked really, really good, and I know that. So light on his feet, like you were saying. I think that, whatever. A lot, the DC, Rogan, and Anik were just saying, like, when you see Kelvin light on his feet, that's when he's his best. Yeah, he looked amazing. I mean, he looked like legit, like he could give Izzy another run for his. That's what probably some people might forget is before Pereira came along, Gastelum was the only one who really touched up Izzy. Right. You know what I mean? That if you look at the picture, gave him a fight. Yeah. Right, yeah. Well, and like the reason I say touched up is because I saw
a picture on Twitter maybe or whatever a while back that it's like, is he after all of his fights? And like the only one where he looked really messed up was after Gastelum.
Well, and that was the one in the 5th round. He kept saying, "I'm prepared to die.
Yeah.
I'm prepared to die."
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, no.
I mean, that was definitely really his toughest fight. You know, I mean, maybe besides getting knocked out by Pereira the first time, but I mean, that was a war for sure. God,
yeah. I would love to see where Kelvin's going to go next. I mean, it was a great fight, like you said, arguably fight of the night. Chris Curtis is no joke. One thing I will say about Chris Curtis that I kind of don't like, and whatever, his interactions on Twitter are kind of not my favorite. And I'll say one thing. It's just like there's random people commenting on his post saying, you know, man, I really thought I had Kelvin 2-1. Just not argumentative or anything. And he's writing paragraphs back.
Yeah, you guys
to
are telling me that.
multiple random people. And it's like, dude, you're making yourself look like, I don't like maybe you didn't think you won or what. I don't know what you're doing. But he's like writing, like I said, he's using all 280 characters to make his point to random guys like me and you. Well, it wasn't us, but it was just random people. You know what I mean? And he's like,
I mean, that kind of shows like, forth. I mean, I get it. Maybe he thought he won the fight, and it was a very close fight. I mean, you could probably, like, if I went and watched it again, I probably would think Gastelum won again. But
yeah,
you know, there's probably, you know, whatever, the fighter himself obviously maybe thinks that differently because he was in there and he knows how many punches he took and how many punches. But from the outside perspective, from the judge's perspective, from our perspective, what are we seeing? You know, we're seeing Gastelum kind of dominate the exchanges.
And I feel like cage presence has a lot to do with that. Like Kelvin is bouncing up and down for 3 rounds, staying really active, looking like he's in the best shape of his life. Not saying Chris Curtis didn't look like that either, but it's just like Kelvin looked so impressive that probably had a lot to do with it.
He did. He looked good, and I think that Chris Curtis kind of thought, you know, maybe he underestimated him too. And that's probably what happened, I would think, because you know, nobody thought they were going to see the Kevin Gastelum that came out on Saturday. That's for sure.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, exactly. Like right away, like I said, Rogan, DC, and Anik were like, "Oh man, he's like bouncing up and down. This is the best Kevin Gastelum. This is the best version of him."
Yeah, and that's what I thought after the first round. He didn't look anything like his last fight.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
But
did he change camps?
But yeah, that's what I was going to say. Apparently, he's got a new camp, new attitude, new whole thing. I mean, and that was the thing too. His post-fight interview was kind of crazy too, how he just was, you know, whatever. I mean, he was just super pumped about the whole thing. And
yeah, man. Yeah, he was going crazy. He was like, just like, he just had to let it out, you know?
I mean, but that's the thing. It's like, you know, Kevin or Chris Curtis is probably just, you know, whatever. He probably thought he won the fight. Probably disappointed he lost the fight. And
completely understandable.
You know, now he's thinking that, you know, but that's, to me, that's not really the way that he should be thinking. He should be thinking like a lot of these guys that.
Oh my God!
Our dog just almost knocked over.
Our dog just went in between the tripod of our camera. That's insane. That's insane. You got to be careful. You're gonna screw it up big time. Come here.
Come on, pull it down. All right, whatever.
All right, hopefully she doesn't knock it over.
Yeah, hopefully we're good now.
All right.
But anyways, what I was trying to say was that like some of these guys that have, you know, good performances and lose, they don't see their good performance, and this is just gonna get him good fights. You know what I mean? And I think that maybe he's missing the fact that by like going off on Twitter and whatever, he doesn't have to do any of that because your performance stands by itself. And these guys who come in and have great performances, like Fiziev a couple weeks ago, you think he's coming out there and complaining that he lost or whatever?
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
No, yeah.
He knows that, like, the smart guys know a good performance is going to get them good fights.
Right. Yeah. It's not exactly, you know, if you won or lost. Right. That's another great thing about the UFC is like you can go out there and lose a really tough matchup, but you don't lose any stock whatsoever. You know, how many fights do we see that like two guys go out there into a war and they both are better off for it at the end? You know what I mean? No matter who gets knocked out or who wins or whatever.
Right. And we also see guys who come out and give crappy performances and aren't ready and whatever, don't show anything, and they get caught. You know, and that's what happens. You have a couple bad fights like that, and you know, they're there to sell tickets. Like if you're going to come in and sell tickets, people are going to want to see you. Like I'm going to watch Chris Curtis every time he fights because he's an exciting fighter. Now, I'm not saying that for every fighter because I don't really think that's the case for every fighter. But
for sure,
but if Chris Curtis is going to give a performance like that, then
yeah,
absolutely, he should be getting some good fights.
Definitely, yeah. One thing before we move on from Kelvin Gastelum, anybody who watches Barstool, you probably don't know these guys, but he looks exactly like this guy named Jeff D'Lo, mixed kind of with another guy named Ken Jack from Barstool. If anybody watches them, you'll be laughing right now because
I don't know who they are, but
no, it's insane.
I believe you.
It's insane. It's actually really, really fucking funny. He looks a lot like Jeff D'Lo, has a little bit of Ken Jack mixed in. I like them. I like them from Barstool. But yeah, we were joking during the fight. We were like, holy fuck, that's Jeff D'Lo. But yeah, if you guys know who they are, you'll probably be laughing right now because that's pretty fucking funny.
That is funny.
Yeah, I mean, we can move on if you want to main card.
Yeah.
Or
I don't know. I just wanted to look and see the rankings because I like to look ahead a little bit and see what's in the future for Gastelum even and Chris Curtis. But trying to find the middleweights here, but yeah. Gastelum went up to 11. He was 15.
Yeah, that's another thing that Chris Curtis was saying on Twitter, that he said if he was saying that Gastelum jumped up how many? 4 spots in the rankings.
Yeah.
Curtis was saying that if he won, he would only jumped up 1 spot. I don't know how he gets that.
Yeah, whatever. He doesn't know what he's talking about. He should just shut up.
On Twitter, yeah, he should.
He should just shut up.
Because he's just, in my opinion, he's kind of making himself look less than. He's a great fighter. Like you said, we've had nothing but good things to say about him except for his social media presence.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. To me, there's a lot of. I mean, you talk about Gastelum, who could be on the rise again. He was there, and now maybe he's back up on the rise. Maybe he's back coming up. And I don't know. After that performance, I say you jump him up to. You skip over, you skip up to the middle of the rankings there, and maybe you give him Sean Strickland,
That'd be interesting because Strickland and Curtis are friends, or whatever. Not friends, they're training partners.
Training partners, yeah.
Probably friends, too, yeah. I think Strickland was in his corner, yeah.
Or maybe you give him Dreykus,
Yeah, that'd be sweet.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, if he's going to be up, and I think he's a guy who's already been there and has experience, and he's not like a new up-and-comer, so I really think, you might want to get him a couple more fights, and then who knows? Maybe he fights Izzy again. I don't know. I mean, he's only 31. That's the thing. That's a week for. I didn't know that. Yeah. Well, I knew it, but then I was reminded of it when the fight started, and I was like, "Wow, he's only 31." It feels like he's been around forever.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
So he's, if he's going to train like that and look like that, then you got to push him up the rankings,
right?
And see, give him somebody else that's tough, and maybe it's Strickland, maybe it's Dolice, I mean, that's, but I don't know, maybe it's Costa, get him a good fighter.
Exactly. Yeah, for sure.
I mean, if he goes up again, to me, if he's that Gastelum, I think he beats Strickland, and I think he beats Costa too.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's just my
Right. He looked really good, man. Really good. And,
Yeah.
I think he was coming off a couple losses too. So really nice to see him just kind of let it out at the end. Like you're saying, he's just like screaming.
Yeah. It's amazing,
stuff,
really.
Yeah.
It's just amazing to see a recovery like that, to get back to something, or the fighter that he once was.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
exactly.
That's just pretty awesome.
For sure.
All right. So, we move on. Main card. First fight of the main card that fucked us all.
It fucked
This
everybody.
This should be the name of this podcast. Raul, you fucked us all.
I'll title it that. I will title it, or I'll put it in the thumbnail or something, because he did. I think we learned a valuable lesson, though. I think we did.
I think so,
and
too.
Here it is. I put a bunch of bets down, bunch of parlays, 3 or 4. They all started with Raul Rosas Jr. via submission. I was pretty confident, obviously. But it's like, you can't do that. Like, everything of mine was blown up after that fight.
I had 3 parlays with him beginning, and but that just shows us what kind of, like non-experts we are too.
Right.
Because we don't know who Christian Rodriguez was.
Right.
Really. And if we would have done a little bit of research.
We should have done a bigger or a deeper dive. Yeah.
Right, exactly. I mean, and I don't do that. I don't have enough time to research everybody I'm betting on or whatever.
Right.
But I kind of go with the patterns and like, okay, I think he's going to win by submission, so I took him by submission, and I think 3 different parlays or whatever.
Right.
And it almost happened. It almost happened in the first round. He just gassed himself. Like, he was just, he had him. He had him in different positions and was on his back. But
as soon as, sorry.
No, but the thing is, like, Christian Rodriguez was not alarmed at all. He had him
one bit,
he had his back, was on top of him. Christian Rodriguez was relaxed, cool as a cucumber, like not even worried, it seemed
not at all.
Like, he reminded me of Volk when Islam and Ortega had him in some things, and he's like, I know I'm not going to get submitted.
Right.
So, and that's kind of the attitude, Rodriguez had. It was like, okay, we're waiting him out till he gasses himself out, because he just kept going and going after him.
Yeah.
And then by the start of the second round, I mean, he was gassed.
He was done. As soon as he came out right away and just kind of ran at him and like super telegraphed, tried to take him down, and it didn't work. I was like, fuck.
Yeah.
I was like, this might not go good at all.
I thought he was going to get him. I still thought he was going to get him in the first round.
Well, he had him.
Yeah.
He was on his back against the cage, and it looked like some sort of neck crank he had. It wasn't under the chin, but he had it over the chin, obviously very uncomfortable. But Christian Rodriguez spent the night stuffing takedowns and, like you said, waiting it out.
Yeah.
And just fighting a smarter fight. I mean, Raul fought like an 18-year-old.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's what,
he fought like an experienced guy, really, and just, maybe he thought he could keep that up for 3 rounds, but I mean, this is the UFC. You're on the main card. You're fighting somebody that's very good fighter
and much more experienced.
And that just showed through. So he kind of screwed us all on our bets, but I mean, it's just whatever. It is what it is. Guys are going to lose, and I still think he's going to be a really good fighter. I mean, he's got a lot of talent.
100%. I mean,
and he's not, and he's only 18 years old, so that's the thing. It's like, you can't, it's a good learning experience for him, for sure, and I think he's just going to come back and be stronger
and better
for it, because he's just got to pick his spots. I mean, you just don't see guys. You very rarely see guys come out and go for the takedown and then just continually go for submissions over and over again, because it doesn't work.
Right.
If you don't get it, you're going to be the one that gets submitted in the end.
Because then you've expended so much energy.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
I mean, it's just, you just don't see that. And that's what was surprising watching that fight too, was like how much energy he was just like going, just like all out. It was like all out sprinting. Like they say, it's like sprinting. You know what I mean? Like Rogan was saying, it's like the guy's literally sprinting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he talked a really big game. That's probably what hurts the most if you're either him or a big fan, is like, man, he's talking like I'm levels ahead of everybody. I can submit Aljo right now.
Yeah.
This and that.
I mean, that's, I don't know. Yeah, the talking part, I mean, as long as you're not being an asshole.
No, I mean, you kind of have to play yourself up too.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's just confidence, I think, in that part of it. And it's whatever. He comes in with a lot of hype behind him, and everybody wants to be a big talker or whatever. But same thing, I feel like Bo Nickel is the same way. He's coming in just, basically talking trash to everybody. And but whatever. I mean, we'll see. We'll see what happens to him too. But
he's a little older.
They back it up and see what happens. But
you
got to back up your shit talking. That's the thing.
For sure.
Like that's the way I feel about, I don't know, like Patty's. Like, okay, you're whatever, you're entertaining, but you got to win, man.
Yeah.
I don't think he won his last fight. So
no.
So that's not saying much for him. But
are they doing a rematch? Jared Gordon?
Oh, I don't know. They should.
I thought I saw something about it, but I don't think it's anything confirmed.
Yeah, maybe they should, but I don't think they're gonna. I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see.
I think Dana thought, whatever. It's a whole other issue. Dana thought Patty's gonna be the next Conor McGregor, and I think he realizes now that he's probably not gonna be. So he's probably, maybe he will give him a rematch. Who knows?
Exactly. Who knows?
Say, hey, you got to beat this guy first.
Yeah, but good for Christian Rodriguez, C-Rod, as some people were calling him.
Yep.
Obviously, put himself on the map a little bit. I mean, like I said, we didn't know too much about him. He's a lot more experienced than Raul anyway. And he will now be known as the guy to stop the UFC's hottest prospect. So
it's awesome. I'm just looking at Rodriguez. He's 9-1, but looks like 3 fights in the UFC, maybe.
Yeah.
So 2-1 now in the UFC, it looks like. But
nice.
yeah. Good on him. So let's move on. Kevin Holland and
Santiago Ponzinibbio.
Ponzinibbio. That is probably, it's one of those names where you're like, that's fun to say.
That is really fun to say.
Santiago Ponzinibbio. Yeah, good fight. I was talking to you earlier because for some reason I couldn't remember how this fight ended, and maybe it's because I was tired or something that night. Yeah. But I went back and rewatched some highlights of it, and yeah, I forgot this was Ponzinibbio was complaining about the ref stoppage and all that, but he literally landed on his face. Like, that's the thing. It's like when you land on your face, like, I mean, his arms were not even.
He was like, he
was definitely out.
He was unconscious.
His face was the first thing to hit the ground.
Right.
And it was like, I mean, that might have woke him up. You know what I mean?
Shit, Mocha.
Oh, our dog is.
Dog interruption part 2.
Dog interruption part 2. All right, back from the break. So, yeah, he landed right on his face, and I think it kind of woke him up when he hit his face on the ground because he immediately got up and he was like, what? It's like, and the ref was, good on, I forgot who the ref was. I don't know if it was Goddard or
it was definitely over, though. Yeah, it was definitely over.
But, yeah, I mean, I don't know. It was a good punch. That was a good fight, I thought. I was surprised that Ponzinibbio didn't try and take down Holland because, I don't know. I didn't get that part. I was like, why isn't he trying to take, after seeing Holland get thrown around by Chimaev and do all that, and I know after doing that, I mean, he's been doing more training and wrestling training and all that, but I don't know. Ponzinibbio was kind of, he's a good wrestler and a good, I mean, he's had submission wins in his career, and I thought like
it might be a big game plan for him.
Yeah, I just didn't know why he didn't, and he didn't even try. He didn't even try to take him down. Really, I mean, maybe there was one. Maybe there was a couple of things, but
nothing notable. Yeah, I mean,
but I don't think he just, he stood up and threw with him, which, that's a bad idea when you're fighting Kevin Holland, unless you're Wonder Boy,
right?
But that's the thing. It's like, I don't know. I thought Kevin Holland looked really good, and that was a good matchup for him, and I think he was lucky that Ponzinibbio didn't try and take him down because
he was throwing a lot of leg kicks. Ponzinibbio was. I mean, Holland ate some good shots for sure. It was definitely a back and forth fight. I don't think it was dominant by Holland, but it was awesome to see him win. I mean, he's a top fighter in my opinion.
Yeah, and it was great to see. This matchup was you could see it immediately how much longer Holland was. I mean, he was like pushing him away, push kicks,
literally pushing him out of range,
him out of range, and landing kind of at will from range. You know what I mean? So
it's funny because I kind of thought Ponzinibbio would be a little bigger than, maybe not bigger than Holland, but Holland should look so much bigger than him in the cage.
I mean, look thicker. That's the thing. But, but it's, I don't know. I don't know what to say about Ponzinibbio. It just seemed like he had the wrong game plan to me. But
yeah, he was coming off a layoff or maybe some sort of illness or injury or something.
I think he had some injury. Yeah.
It was a great fight though. I don't think he lost much stock. He's still going to be around. He's still going to be doing things. But Kevin Holland, man, he is definitely one of my all-time favorites. Like I said, I think he's just awesome. He's whatever, his discipline is kung fu. He's shit talking. He's asking Ponzinibbio if he smells weed in the arena.
Oh, that was funny, yeah.
Talking to Trump between rounds 2 and 3.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just
he's all over the board.
So
I mean,
funny.
He's
just so funny.
Yeah,
and he's out there stopping armed robberies at sushi bars and tackling robbers, and he's fucking Batman, dude. He's awesome. He's the best. And I don't know. There's not many people on the UFC roster that I like more than Kevin Holland.
Yeah. Yeah, he's good. And it's, he's that's the thing about him. It's like I love when he fights because it's like, I can't wait to watch the press conferences. I can't wait to watch the fight. I can't wait to see what's going to happen. He runs into Masvidal and just tells him to fuck off, like, fuck you, bitch, just because he's walking by or whatever, just because he doesn't like him.
Right.
And that was the whole thing. That's why Dana White got so mad in the press conference, too. It's like when people started asking him about that confrontation.
Oh, Dana shut it down.
He got so mad. It was so funny. Yeah. He just got, so pissed off about, a couple of the guys asking about the confrontation. Yeah, he's like, these guys aren't even fighting each other. He's like, knock it off.
You could kind of tell he was a little pissed at Holland. And if I was Holland behind closed doors, I'd have been like, listen, man, I fought fucking Chimaev for you, okay?
Exactly.
You're not going to be mad at me for shit. I'm going to do whatever.
Exactly.
Whoever I want to call out, whoever I want to pick a fight with in the hotel lobby, whatever I want to do. I fought fucking Chimaev on 8 hours
you would think that would buy him some, like, time to do whatever he wants without getting in trouble.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I mean, fuck, man.
Within reason, I guess. And this wasn't any big deal. It was just them yelling at each other. It was no physical confrontation or anything like that. Drummed up some excitement
for the pay-per-view, you know?
Yeah.
I mean? Like, that's all it was.
Right. So. Yeah. It's so ridiculous. But yeah, like I said, I'm always up for a Kevin Holland card. That's for sure.
For sure.
You never know what you're going to get.
Yeah.
And something's going to happen.
Yeah, definitely.
There's going to be entertainment. It's kind of like when Sean Strickland's on the card.
Yeah.
You can't wait to hear his press conference.
Right, yeah. You can't wait to hear
what's going to happen.
Crazy shit he's about to say or whatever.
What's going to come out of his mouth. So
yeah. That's cool. I mean, we can move on if you want.
All right, yeah, move on. Rob Font and Adrian Yanez. One round, but this was like crazy back and forth. We kind of knew coming in what this fight was going to be, and I kind of thought Yanez was going to outbox him, but I mean,
yeah,
he kind of did, but Rob Font landed the more damaging punches, you know what I mean? I think that...
Yeah, in that one, he just sat him right down.
And I think he sat him down before that, too. I think that was the second time, actually.
Yeah.
In that round.
Yeah.
That Font, whatever. I think Yanez started out strong, and I think he was landing from what I remember, the better punches, the more accurate punches, and getting through. But I mean, Font just it was like a switch flipped with Font. I think I don't know what it was, but he looked better than I've seen him in a long time, and looked knocked him out.
I mean, crazy. I was so hot on Yanez because who did he fight last? Tony Kelly. Yeah, he looked like the best fighter in the UFC against Tony Kelly. He looked super good boxer, good. Yeah, I mean. This is another one that blew up. I think as soon as Raul lost, I put another one in. I wasn't sure what was going to happen in the Kevin Holland fight, so I put Yanez KO TKO.
Yeah,
I don't know.
that was one of mine. I had Rosas submission. That was my big parlay that I thought was going to come through. I had Rosas submission, Yanez I think by knockout or points, and then I had Izzy by knockout. So I thought those three, and I think it was like. It gave me like a whatever plus 6,000 whatever. I don't even know what it was, but I bet like $10 would have won me like 600 or something ridiculous. So, but so I wouldn't have won that one either. But who knows? That was a pretty decent upset. I mean, Font was plus 155.
Yeah.
So, but I don't know. Great on him. Like I said, you never know what's going to happen in these fights, and
I think these guys are really. I know he knocked him out the first round. I think they're pretty evenly matched, though. I mean, I just saw some headline. Yanez apparently was yelling in the cage. People thought he was yelling at Rob Font, but he said he was yelling at himself.
Coach, wasn't he?
He said he was yelling at himself in this headline. He said, I was yelling at myself because I fucked up.
Got it. Okay.
I don't know. I mean,
people thought he was yelling at his coach too, or something.
Oh, maybe it was. People thought he was yelling at his coach. I don't know. I didn't really see it. I just kind of read it quickly.
I saw that after the fight, like after it was over, when they were waiting, like just in between when they were waiting to get their hands raised and whatever. It was like he was yelling, but you couldn't. That makes sense now because it was like people were confused, like who's he yelling at?
Yeah,
what's he yelling at his coach for?
Yeah,
that's what he was. That's what people were saying. So.
Right. Yeah, I mean, whatever. If he was yelling at himself, then don't be too hard on yourself because you'll be good, man.
Yeah, shit happens. Yeah. But I mean, whatever. That's good on Font. So I mean that. These are bantamweights, so I don't know. Let's look ahead a little bit and see.
Yeah.
See what I was going to say. Yanez, he was ranked 12th in the rankings, but I mean, let's just take a quick look and see what might be next for these guys. I don't think. Oh, they moved Rob Font up to 6. Wow. That's crazy. He wasn't even ranked. I don't think he was ranked. He didn't have a number. Well, on the other screen I was just on, he didn't have a number by his name, but maybe he did.
I don't know. I don't remember. But wow, ranked 6. So who does it look like? Who's he got above him?
Well, I don't know. He's got Vera might be a good matchup for him, or Jan.
Right.
I mean, if he wants to keep slowly moving up, that's probably what he's looking at.
Step. Right. Yeah. That would be awesome.
But yeah, I don't know.
Yanez, I don't know. I mean, he'll be all right too. I mean, he's down to
12 he's 12. Now. Looks like 12, but yeah, I mean,
you got Ricky Simone, you got Umar Nurmagomedov, you got Pedro Munoz. I mean, you got to go.
Yeah, I think
Cruz even.
Yeah, I think for Yanez to move up, he's got to fight. Just a couple guys ahead of him.
Yeah.
Whether it's Umar or Simon. I mean, Simon would be a good matchup for him. That'd be a great fight, actually.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that would be.
Yeah, that would be great.
I'd like to see that, but
for sure.
But anyways, that's kind of where we sit for that.
Bantam weights, yeah. And I love seeing that too next to Sean O'Malley's name. He'll be a C soon, but yeah.
Okay, we'll see.
We will.
We'll see that.
We will.
We'll see about that.
See him knock the fuck out of Aljo or whoever it is. But yeah, I mean, all good on that. I don't have too much more. I thought, whatever. I really thought Yanez was gonna knock him out. Just basing on his prior performance, I was just so impressed with him. But
yeah,
at the end of the day, it happens.
Yeah, shit happens. But moving on, so Gilbert co-main or whatever they call it.
The co-main event.
Co-main event. Gilbert Burns and Jorge Masvidal. Kind of went how I expected. I mean, I think at this point, I didn't really expect Masvidal to win. I guess I don't know. I mean, you never know what's going to happen. And like I said, he's a good, Masvidal is probably the best fight promoter I've seen around, especially this fight in Miami. And
yeah,
I mean, the way they're, obviously the way that the UFC hypes up every fight and King of Miami and all, whatever. I mean, it was just a perfect storm of, Masvidal plus, location.
Right.
So
yeah,
it was just like,
even when he's fighting a Gilbert Burns, who he's probably not going to beat, people still, I still really wanted to see the fight. I know he mentioned before about possibly retiring if he loses. Kind of put himself in I hesitate to say a good spot, but kind of an interesting spot, because if he beats Gilbert Burns, which obviously we're recording this after he didn't, if you beat him though, then stay in it. You just beat Gilbert Burns. You know what I mean?
Well, and I think a lot of these guys get to the point where they're like, okay, this, and then he kind of alluded to that too. He's like, well, I lost my last 3 fights. If I lose 4 fights in a row, even though whatever, a couple had some weird circumstances, like taking the fight on 4 days notice or 5 days notice at one time and whatever, and it was in Abu Dhabi or whatever. So no excuses, but that's the thing. It's like he was saying before, it was like he admitted, it's like, yeah, I lose 4 times in a row. It's like, I really got to think about what I'm doing.
Yeah, exactly.
So he kind of alluded to the fact that, he might be, okay, this might be it for him or whatever. And I don't know, but I think, even me, I got caught up in a lot of the hype, and I was like watching all these things and like King of Miami, like, let's go. Okay, slight interruption, but let's pick up King of Miami. Yeah. So I got like super drawn into the whole thing, and I started thinking like, I think he might be able to do it. Like,
right.
I'm like, but then I don't know. Then I drew myself back, and I was like, okay, let's think about this.
For real now.
Let's think about it realistically, and which I get caught up in it because I love, like, Masvidal's one of my favorite fighters. I like, whatever. He's always been that guy that I don't know. I've always had a special, liking to him, and I feel like I like that. I like how he promotes himself. I like that he, and I especially love now that he's taken, what he's done and doing something with it, like doing this Masvidal boxing,
game bred boxing,
or whatever it's called, and doing, it's like, I love when guys transition into something else and turn it into something else.
Well, and that's what he said when, he's making his retirement speech or whatever you want to call it. He's like, listen, I'm a millionaire now. My grandkids are taken care of. I'm doing all this other stuff, and, I'm good.
Right. Exactly. That's the whole thing. It's like, but whatever. Then when I started thinking about it, it's like, it kind of turned out the way I thought it was going to turn out. I mean, Burns is I just think at this point in his career, he's a much better fighter and much more polished, and especially on the ground. And we saw that on the ground, kind of, even though Masvidal is great at defending takedowns and things like that, but it just, kind of, showed through that, Burns was just more dominant fighter.
Yeah.
And it is what it is. So.
Right. Gilbert won decision. I mean, just kind of played the smart fight, made sure he didn't get caught with anything stupid. Yeah. That's how he would have lost. You know what I mean? As if he gets caught with something that he's taking lightly or whatever. You know.
Yeah, exactly. But I don't know. Like I said, it was a big lead up to that fight, and if Masvidal would have won somehow, then you would think that maybe he's projected to move up the rankings. Yeah. Way, like, okay, is he going to fight Edwards, or are they really going to give it to Covington?
Right.
I mean,
right.
Who knows?
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing that I was kind of mentioning before. It's like he kind of put himself in a cool spot where it's like, hey, I'm probably done, but I got this fight against this guy named Gilbert Burns, and if I beat him, I have a good shot of fighting for the title or something.
Yeah, right.
It bumps me up like crazy,
Well, yeah, for sure, and and that's where you think about it too. Where does this bring Burns? Because is he? I mean, I think realistically, he's positioning himself for another title run too.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think, I don't know. I don't think Edwards really wants to fight Colby, but I think it's going to happen. I think Dana's telling him, like, that's it. Yeah. Colby showed up. He already said it. He's like, Colby showed up for the weight cut. Colby showed up for this, and I did everything he needed to do. And I think Leon doesn't really want to fight him, but whatever. I don't think he has a choice at this point.
Yeah, one thing I wanted to touch on with this fight too, in the post-fight press conferences, Gilbert Burns was kind of throwing a little shade at Masvidal, saying he was saying that he knows the tricks that these guys do, was basically saying that during his weight cut, they were like applying lotion to his body over and over again, so it like seeps into the skin. If you do it enough, I guess it'll make you a little slippery.
Yeah.
And whatnot.
I heard that too. Yeah.
Then after, like the next day on Twitter, Gilbert Burns, in typical Gilbert Burns fashion, just apologized and kind of said, that's not right of me to say. It's probably not true. Yada yada yada. Or he has no proof, nothing he can prove as far as that goes, and just wanted to apologize. Because, I don't know. Yeah, you're coming out of the fight. You probably, emotions run high. I get it. But Gilbert Burns is a class act. He's a great human being. And I think, whatever, he just came out and apologized. He's like, listen, man, I'm sorry. And, I hope, he didn't take anything away from Masvidal's retirement and things like that.
Yeah, exactly. And Gilbert Burns has really been nothing but a class act his whole career. And he's just a super nice guy. It's hard to... It's hard to say anything bad about him, really.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, I love him. The only thing is I think he should go back to the shorter mohawk fro hair instead of just the big... Yeah, I think he should cut it.
He looks kind of weird. Not weird. I'm not saying... I'm not dissing anybody's looks, that's for sure. But the way his hairline is, it's like right above his... it's like that afro just like comes right out.
I liked when he had the little bit of a... Not mohawk, but like that kind of style.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. This is kind of growing on me too. It's kind of different look that you don't see too often. So it's kind of cool.
Do what you want, man.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. So, I don't know. That's about all I got on that fight, really. I think that, great on Masvidal. I'm sad to see him retire, but I mean, just whatever. It comes to a point where you're just got to move on, and you don't want to keep. I hate to see the guys that, keep going in the ring or whatever just because, he doesn't need the money and whatever. So it is so good on him for retiring at the right time, I think. So
Right, exactly.
On to the main event.
Yeah.
Alex Pereira, Israel Adesanya.
Man, I mean, whatever. We can start wherever, but this was... all-time UFC moment, in my opinion. I was saying earlier, this is an all-time card. This is why. I mean, this is an all-time UFC moment, MMA moment that we got to witness live.
Yeah, it really was, and I feel like with all the the champions who've been defeated, it was nice to see one come back and regain his title. Yeah, that's what I thought, and to be honest, I didn't know what was going to happen in this because I think it's obviously it's a super hard matchup. For Izzy, Pereira is way bigger than him. Yeah, probably should be fighting 205, and I think Dana alluded to that. The fact, did you hear that? He said he said, I think Pereira's done at 185.
Actually, it came out today that he's going to go up. Yeah, he's going to go up and fight.
Oh, did it? Okay.
I saw something about it on Twitter today. I think Pereira said it too or something like that. So that's looks like how it's going to go. Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, and I think that, it's like even this weight cut, he still had like a pound or two to go with like an hour left or something.
Yeah.
So it was these weight cuts are not fun for him, obviously.
Yeah, he's a huge
and he's just a huge guy. By the time he fights, I mean, he's got to be 210 or whatever. I don't know what he is back at it, but
he's huge.
But huge guy, and it was. But yeah, I mean, Izzy just looked like a different person during this whole thing, and I think that he was just incredibly focused, and I didn't think there was much playing around from him press conference wise. He just didn't want to play into any of it really, and came out with the dog collar on, and it's like it's time to unleash the dog and all that stuff, and you know, he didn't even feel like talking. He just was like, well, you want to see me fight or do you want to see me talk? You know, it's like,
right.
So
I think he was extremely focused. I mean, I don't know. It seemed like this was the most serious he's ever taken a fight.
Yeah, for sure. And I think even you can tell by his walkout that, it was just all focus all the time.
But yeah, I mean, I think we were talking a little about Izzy too, and just kind of how he approached it differently this time. It seemed like he was way more. Yeah. Just like, I don't care about any of this press conference bullshit. Like, I'm and I noticed, like I said, I noticed that even with the walkout, he was just like business, man. It was just like, there's no emotion there. Yeah.
No, for sure. It was just like, he was just concentrating on what he was going to do.
Yeah. No, I agree.
And then the fight started. I kind of thought it was kind of going the same way. It was like, he got caught with a number of punches, took a good clean left hook.
Yeah.
And, took that. But, I mean, he was picking his shots,
Right. Finding his range.
Finding,
like that.
Exactly. Kind of, and the kicking was incredible, too. I mean, they were both kicking the shit out of each other's legs.
Yeah.
But, yeah, and then, I don't know, it just came down to that time where I didn't know what was happening. Izzy was kind of up against the fence and kind of put himself up against the fence.
Playing possum.
Kind of, yeah. I mean, that was probably, eventually a game plan of his that,
Well, what I heard someone saying, too, is they probably saw it where when Pereira thinks he's, about to finish you, or when he starts teeing off, he gets his hands real low and he just starts punch. Like, he's not like real tactical about it when he's like just in that go mode of like, I'm going to finish you right now. Izzy probably picked that up from the first fight, from watching his other fights, and was like, I can probably absorb 3 or 4 of these blows and then hit him back and knock him the fuck out.
Well, yeah. And I saw a really good analysis, and now, damn it, I can't think of who it was, but it was a guy that I watch and I saw it online, but it was a really good analysis, and it was like slow-mo analysis of what happened, and he was saying it's just like any good boxer will notice, okay, you throw that punch and you don't get your hand back quick enough to protect yourself. Yeah. That's exactly what happened if you rewatch it. And this guy did. I'll find it and I'll have you put this in the show notes, because the breakdown was incredible that they did. Yeah. Because he threw the punch and it was like his hand just remained out there. It didn't come back right away to protect himself. It was like punch out and hand was still out there, and then Izzy came right over the top. Yeah. Right over the top. Yeah. Twice or whatever.
Yeah.
But it was amazing. It was amazing how they broke that down, though, because I haven't heard that in a long time about, like, I used to watch a lot of boxing when I was younger, but that's what they always say. It's like these really good boxers, like, they throw a punch, hand comes back right where it was, and it's like Pereira threw that punch, left it out there, and then just right over the top. It's like comes right over the top because you don't have your hand back quick enough. So
exactly.
And that's exactly what happened, and that's how they broke it down, and it was pretty awesome. But I wish I could remember who did that, but we'll put that we'll put that in the notes maybe or whatever. I'd like to put a link to that video because it was awesome.
Yeah, definitely.
It really shows you how what the art of boxing is.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was just awesome to see, like you said, one of these long-standing champions end up getting beat, and then it was awesome to see someone get the belt back. I mean, that has to be the hardest thing he's ever done. You know what I mean? He's fighting this boogeyman for all intents and purposes, someone who has owned him. You know what I mean? He's at 3-0 against him in his career altogether, not in MMA.
Yeah.
But man, I don't know. I can't even put into words, I guess, what this probably meant to Izzy. I mean, his post-fight interview with Rogan was pretty
it was awesome.
powerful.
Yeah. It was just awesome.
But yeah, I mean, it was just probably one of the better knockouts I've seen, you know, watching it live.
Yeah.
Obviously not in person, but it was just amazing.
Yeah, it was, and I'm really happy for him and whatever. I mean, the emotion after, I mean, the whole, like, you know, shooting arrows at him, breaking the arrows, doing the whole, like, okay, fell asleep to his son. You know, like his son mocked him.
Yeah.
He remembers all that. You know, he remembers his son. And they showed the video I saw of like his son like falling down right next to him or whatever. And now Pereira's son was crying and all this other garbage. It's like, whatever, man. It's like, you know, even though it's a kid, it's like, well, you got to learn the hard way. You know, well, you go out and mock somebody, then you're going to get it back someday.
The kid was a kid maybe at the time, but he looked like he was 17 or 18. I mean, still a kid, but
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how old he is.
You do that, and, you know, he's coming back, man.
Yeah. I mean, whatever. It's kind of, I don't know, it just showed a lot of the emotion that was that was being released, and you know, maybe if he thought about it twice, he maybe wouldn't have done that or whatever. But whatever, I don't even care that he did it.
I thought it was great. I thought it was great.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just the best. Like I was saying, Kevin Holland's one of my favorites. He has to be up there too. I mean, I know he's obviously
we have
mainstream,
a lot.
but
I mean, we have a lot of
watch
favorites.
Enough. Yeah,
we have a lot.
Izzy
Seems
is
like
just
a couple guys that fight every week are our favorites.
He's my favorite. Yeah, a little recency bias maybe, but no, he's awesome. I mean, can't say it enough. Coming back, fighting Pereira, he just, you know, even after the first loss, he was, I don't know, he just handled it super well. Like he went in studio to Ariel Helwani like the next day and did an interview and like whatever. He's just not, you can just tell he's just like, I don't know, something about his mindset maybe or something. He's just different.
Yeah.
Different.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, amazing. And I love the speech or the little thing after that he gave. You know, fortify your mind.
People. Earth,
yeah. Fortify your mind.
He's amazing, man. I can't say enough good things about him. And like I said, I don't know. If I saw anybody regain their belt, I was hoping it'd be him. So
yeah, it's cool, and it's bad for the rest of the division, to be honest, because
very bad.
Like I don't know who the hell he fights next.
Right. I mean Whitaker would have had a shot at Pereira. I mean, you know, Vettori, Cannonier, whoever.
Right, that's the thing. If Pereira wins, I think it's Whitaker goes after, you know, gives Pereira a run for his money for sure. And I think Whitaker, I don't know. I don't know. Pereira's so big, but it just seems like Whitaker would probably beat him wrestling.
Yeah, take him down. Yeah.
But I don't know. Jeez, I don't even know I don't even know who he's gonna fight, to be honest. I mean, what's gonna be next for him, really?
Chimaev? Someone who needs a shot. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, yeah, I think Chimaev kind of tweeted out like congrats, like I'm coming for you. You know, like so.
Well, that would be awesome.
That would be.
I mean, that'd be a fight for sure.
Huge test, because Chimaev is going up to 185. I'm pretty sure.
Well, I don't know.
So who knows?
I'm not really sure.
I was gonna say I don't even know if we can predict what's next for Izzy, because I don't know if anybody knows or any. You know, I don't think
he has to fight anybody in his division, to be honest.
He's beaten everybody.
I mean, he's beaten pretty much everybody.
I mean,
and I don't think, you know, another fight this year for Izzy. I don't know. Maybe they make Chimaev.
He'll fight again this year.
Later in the year, you know.
Yeah. Saw a lot about him and John Jones recently. I mean, I know Jones just gained a bunch of weight. Like, it's probably not going to happen because they're too far apart now. If Jones was at light heavyweight, maybe.
Yeah, I saw Jones talking shit about him.
Yeah.
He's a kid compared to me or
whatever. Yeah. Who knows, man? Who knows? That would be fantastic, though. I mean,
I
said, probably not feasible. Jones weighs 250 pounds right now. So
yeah, I don't think that's happening.
Yeah.
That's definitely not happening.
Yeah. But cool. Yeah.
That would be another Blachowicz fight. I mean, whatever. Izzy's not going to go up to 205 even, or I don't know. I just don't think he can hang up there with those guys.
Yeah, I mean, they're just much bigger than him.
Can't hang with a really good, heavier wrestler, and that's what even Blachowicz showed that.
Right, exactly. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, can't say enough about Izzy, man. It's fucking awesome.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know what's next for him, and like I said, I think maybe Chimaev makes sense, and since nobody wants to fight him anyway, or whatever. Right. I mean, maybe Bilal will fight him. Yeah. I don't know. They're going to give Bilal Shavkat, though. Throw him right into the fucking fire.
I know. It's kind of ridiculous.
They're like, screw you, Bilal. We've been shitting on you for 5 years now. We're going to give you Shavkat.
Right.
We're going to give you the next killer in the division.
Exactly.
That's not named Chimaev.
It's not named Chimaev. See if you can beat this guy.
Yeah.
Before you get your first title shot.
Yeah,
Jesus,
exactly.
That's a whole other podcast, man. I'm serious. That pisses me off a little bit, but
yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, we'll see what happens. Who knows? Yeah. But all right, well, let's wrap that up and call that a podcast. UFC 287 review.
Yeah, in the books, man. Can't say enough. I think that was one of the better events.
We didn't even talk about our new. We repositioned a little bit.
Why not? I think it looks cool. We should get like a TV and put it sideways and have a TV there, like a 32.
Let's do it
or something. That would be cool. I did my little drawing.
Put it sideways, then you've got to watch TV sideways, or how's it come out?
I think it'll project.
Can you do it vertical?
Well, no.
So we shouldn't do that then.
No, I don't think we would watch TV on it. It'd be more just like a display thing.
Oh,
like maybe a monitor that
you could.
We'll figure it out. Maybe you'll see it in the next episode.
Do it like that. You figure that out.
I'll figure it out.
Yeah,
I'll order it.
So
cool.
All right, thanks for watching.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Yeah, appreciate everybody subscribing and liking our videos and things like that. I mean, we do a lot of different things. We do UFC, Formula One.
Yep.
We do a whole lot of bogeys, golf, which is going to be some amazing content coming up soon. Oh, yeah. So stay tuned for that.
Yeah, we got a lot of shit planned for that.
I don't really do much with that, but that's more Joe and Jared, and on the golf course, on-course content is going to be pretty awesome this year.
Yeah,
so
stay tuned for that for sure. We're past 37,000 subscribers, so it's pretty fucking cool.
Can't wait to see that. Yeah. So if you haven't watched any Lounging with Larry, you can watch that also. So
definitely
should have some more of those scheduled coming up, but
definitely.
But yeah, that's
we're
about
doing it. So cool. Appreciate you guys watching. Yeah, appreciate it.